Marvel Maniac. At Marvel Maniac, we analyze the MCU and theorize about what Marvel will do next. We are so close to the release of Infinity War Part 2 Endgame. In a few months, we could finally see what happened to our favorite heroes after the snap, and see how, or rather if, they could take down Thanos. Now, fair warning, there will be spoilers ahead of a lot of movies, so try to make sure that you watch all of them before you watch this video. Now, let's jump right ahead into these Marvel theories. Now, this first theory revolves around Doctor Strange, and basically, long story short, everyone thinks that Doctor Strange knew what he was doing when he handed Thanos the Time Stone. Now, this is a direct quote from "That crazy Avengers Infinity War ending was part of Doctor Strange's plan" by The Wrap. And this is a direct quote. Before the fight with Thanos on Titan, Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone to look forward in time, checking alternate futures for a path on which he and the Avengers might achieve victory. It's the same thing that the Ancient One was doing in 2016's Doctor Strange before she died, seeing many possible disastrous futures and spending centuries working to avert them. Strange tells Tony and the others that he looked through some 14 million futures, but only saw one in which the good guys win. We don't know what the long game is, but we can guess pretty solidly, based on his last words, that everything Doctor Strange did after looking at those many possible futures was to bring that one victorious future about. Yes, that includes most of the heroes turning to dust. The last thing that Doctor Strange said before he too turned to dust was, "There was no other way." Looking at that, we can't really make a solid guess on what his plan was. But what we can know is that Doctor Strange knew what he was doing when he gave Thanos that Time Stone. I mean, why would he give it to him? He never really cared about Tony in the beginning, always calling him Stark. But then after he looked at those 14 million futures, he started calling him Tony. So what we can guess from this is that Tony is really important to this. Tony Stark, I mean, he's obviously important because he was one of the first Avengers. So Doctor Strange had to have known what he was doing when he gave Thanos that Time Stone. And if he didn't, then what would be the point of giving it to him at all? That's weird. Marvel is weird. Now, we can't really make any guesses on what the future was because we never see any reference to it other than that one quote. Well, we can't really make any solid accusations on what that future was, but we can guess that it revolves around that Time Stone. And the only way to achieve that possible future was Doctor Strange giving Thanos the Time Stone. Our next theory is all about the Soul Stone. Our next theory is all about the Soul Stone and what happened after the snap. Now, again, all the news articles that I use and every reference that I make, I'll put a link in the description down below, including all song credits and stuff like that. So, yeah. This is a direct quote from Brian Welk in the news article, "The 6 most plausible Avengers Infinity fan theories we've seen." Spoilers. Alright, and this is a direct quote from that news article. "In Infinity War, after Thanos snaps his fingers, he appears in some kind of spiritual realm, and we're pretty sure it's totally different from the quantum realm, and that will be explained in more detail in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And encounters Gamora as a child. If the Soul Stone works like it does in the comics, then this probably wasn't Thanos having a comforting vision, but him talking to the actual soul of the recently deceased Guardian of the Galaxy, which means perhaps everyone who disappeared isn't really dead, but their souls are trapped and confined to this realm." Now, this theory is one of the most popular theories in the entire fandom so far. Every single person I've talked to believes that this theory is true, especially since why would they kill off Peter Parker? Because he has Spider-Man Far From Home coming out soon, and The trailer just dropped for that, and it looks so cool. Ugh. Peter Parker's my child. I've watched him through 3 generations of Spider-Man. Just first Tobey Maguire, then Andrew Garfield, now Tom Holland, and oh my god. After reading that direct quote from the Wrap, it seems like a really plausible theory, especially since Gamora was the one who had to die in order for Thanos to get the Soul Stone. Now, if Gamora was a recently deceased soul, and we see that the area that she was in, it was all gold. It was like a really pretty yellow gold color, just like what we saw the Soul Stone looked like, a really pretty yellow gold color. Now, it wouldn't make sense for them to kill off T'Challa and Bucky and everyone else except for the original 6 Avengers. That wouldn't make sense, especially since how much they could benefit from having them still alive and in their franchise, especially since the box office ratings came in. And T'Challa, like Black Panther, hit the millions, billions even, I think. It was a really high selling movie, so it's obvious they're gonna have to make a second movie. And killing off T'Challa in Infinity War, that wouldn't really make sense to have him dead for the second movie. Also, Shuri might be dead. Oh my god, why would they kill off Shuri? Shuri is my child. But like I said before, this theory is one of the most popular theories in the MCU right now. Everyone thinks that all the deceased people in Infinity War are in the Soul Stone. Everyone who didn't survive the snap is in the Soul Stone. I honestly have to agree with them. That seems like it would be the most plausible theory. Just going with the comics. Going with everything else we've seen. It doesn't have a news article. Now, this final theory is one of my favorite theories so far, and one of the lesser known theories. This theory is that Tony Stark goes back in time to warn the first Avengers from the first Avengers movie. Now, this theory, after leaked photos of the Avengers 4 set, we can see Robert Downey Jr. with his graying hair, and Chris Evans with his classic Avengers suit. It's also seen that Paul Rudd has joined them on set. In other photos of the set, Chris Hemsworth has his long hair and original suit, while Tom Hiddleston has his OG suit. So, the pictures are up on screen right now. And do you see this? Tony Stark is the only person in this photo with his Infinity War outfit. Everyone else has their classic suits on, except for Ant-Man, who wasn't in his first movie, and is rocking the Ant-Man and the Wasp suit. Now keep in mind, both of these photos were from the same set. They were not altered in any way, and everything here is what multiple sources has been posted. They have not been altered in any way, and everything here is what multiple sources have posted. Now, what this means, we really can't know right now. That's up for the Tom Holland spoil. Although what this does tell us is that Tony Stark is in fact alive, and not what the Endgame trailer might have said. He's obviously alive for Avengers 4. If he weren't, then why would he be on the original cast? Why would he be there with everyone else wearing their classic suits, and him being the only one wearing the same suit or the same outfit that he wore in the beginning of Infinity War? Also, why would he still have his graying hair if he weren't the Infinity War Tony Stark? Everyone else, they all have their original outfits. Excuse me. Thor has his really long hair that he had in the first movies. Black Widow, as far as we can tell, she probably will have her original red short hair. Hawkeye, he looks, I don't know. Why am I talking about Hawkeye? He wasn't even in this movie. In another note, every other movie that Hawkeye was in, the Avengers won. This is the one movie, Infinity War, this is the one movie where Hawkeye wasn't in there, and they lost. He might seem like a really, really unimportant character, but he's been in every movie where they win. Last guy, Pietro and Wanda. He was the guy that got them to join the Avengers. Honestly, Pietro, Quicksilver, he's my boy. And also, like, come on, X-Men, Quicksilver, he's my 80s child. Sweet Dreams Are Made of This is a bop, and he is awesome. He may not have done a whole lot. Also, another thing about Hawkeye. In the comics, he was deaf, canonically deaf. Why did they get rid of that in the comics to MCU change? Why did they get rid of his deafness? It's also canon that Deadpool knows sign language. And he was seen in one of the comics actually signing to Hawkeye about a long story. He had his mask up to reveal his mouth, so then Hawkeye could lip read. Like, Deadpool canonically knows sign language. I just want a Hawkeye x Deadpool meeting, and I want to see how that would go, where he is canonically deaf. Either that or Deadpool just makes some kind of weird fourth wall joke, where he says, this is not canon. Like, this is not accurate. Like, Hawkeye should be deaf? Why is he still hearing me? And like, or he starts signing to him. And Hawkeye does not understand a single thing that he's saying. And he just starts talking like regularly. Like Deadpool's just absolutely confused to the max. I just want to see that. I would want to see that so much. Also, Deadpool will make an appearance on Avengers 4. Like, yeah. Is it Avengers 4 now? What is it? Or so it's the first one, and then second one, and then Ultron was the third. Wait, was it? Hey Google, how many Avengers movies have there been so far? There have been 2 Avengers movies so far. Infinity War was also another Avengers movie. So yeah, Avengers 4. Yeah, this would be Avengers 4. Yeah, I'm right. Am I right? Yeah, I am right. Yay. So yeah, back on topic. Tony will go back and warn the first Avengers. Because what other explanation could there be, except for, obviously, photo editing? What these photos mean, we can only infer or let the cast spoil for us. But what we can guess right now is that Tony Stark will be incredibly important in Avengers 4. Especially revolving around the Time Stone. Because Time Stone, like, all the Infinity Stones are really, really important. But the Time Stone was one of the most difficult to get. I mean, Thanos had to nearly kill, Tony Stark in order to get it. Long story short, something in the first Avengers movie was so important that Tony Stark had to go back in time and figure out that. But Tony Stark is alive, and he will go back. Doctor Strange's plan, Soulstone Heaven, and time travel. Avengers Endgame has high hopes for theorists. Let's just hope it lives up to our expectations. My only expectation, Spider-Man. I just wanted to be alive and save the day, because, he's my boy. Tony Stark, Peter Parker is my child. He's my boy from Queens. And that does it for today's video. If you liked it, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you leave a like down below. I upload every few weeks, so keep an eye out. This has been Marvel Maniac, signing off. Later, dorks.
See you better poop when the beat